Please adhere to YouTube selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals. Alrighty, so today I, cigarette smoker, am going to be trying Indian rum for the first time. What will Indian rum be like, and will I like it? Well, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Let me tell y'all what. What I've got with me today is some Old Monk, very old vatted, XXX 7 years aged rum from India, which cost me $26.75 for this 750 milliliter bottle, and the rum inside this bottle has an ABV of 40% along with a proof of 80, making it pretty average strength when compared to other rums from around the world, from what I know at least. As a whole, I am looking forward to trying this rum a little bit more so than not. Not only because I've never tried an Indian rum before, but also because Old Monk is a, I'd have to say, pretty well-known nameplate within India. Old Monk as a brand was first introduced in 1954 and quickly became the standard rum of the Indian military, supposedly at least. And while they didn't do any large-scale advertising and focused on word of mouth, they became one of, if not the largest rum brands within India throughout the late 1900s. Now, starting in the early 2000s, competition upped, and Old Monk as a brand has really fallen down in popularity in the last 15 to 20 years or so. However, nonetheless, by many, Old Monk is considered to be a classic rum brand. And so as such, I'm hoping that this stuff right here will be quite good, and I'm hoping that it will be a much more enjoyable drinking experience overall than not. But I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and quickly go over the look of the bottle. Now, shouldn't I? After that, I should probably go ahead and get the lid all off, go ahead and take a smell of some Indian rum for the first time and find out just what it smells like and whatnot. Then after that, I should go through excuse me. Then after that, I think I should probably go ahead and pour some in my glass I've got right here and go ahead and take another little bit of a whiff and just kind of take a look at the color of the rum and whatnot. And then after that, I do think I should probably go ahead and actually take a sip of some of this stuff and let you guys know just what I think of Indian rum and what my first initial impressions of Indian rum actually are. And if I'm feeling like it, maybe I'll make myself up a little bit of a rum and coke as well. It's tempting, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. But as said, first off, we gotta go over the look of the bottle and the packaging as a whole. And let's go ahead and start off with the lid up here. We can see this bottle does not use a cork, instead using a twist-off plastic cap. And we can see on the top of the black plastic cap, it just says Mohan Meekin Limited, which is the brewery slash company that, or distiller, I guess is really the right way of putting it, isn't it? Brewery would be for beer or cider. I guess distiller would really be the right way of putting it. But Mohan Meekin Limited, that's the company that produces this rum. And then under that, it just says for export only. And then under that, we just get like the Mohan Meekin sort of coat of arms and everything like that kind of thing. And it just says established date 1855, which is not when this brand was first introduced. That's just when Mohan Meekin as a company was first introduced under a different name, I want to say. Was it introduced under a different name? I think it was, if I remember correctly. But that's pretty much all that's going on the lid of this bottle. We can just see a bunch of ridges to help you twist it off and everything like that kind of thing as well. Moving on below that, we can see there's a little bit more black plastic right here, and in gold, it just says Old Monk Rum, just right there, just like the gold on the top of the cap. And it just says that again on the other side as well. Moving on to the actual, I'd have to say, shape of the bottle itself. We can see it starts off pretty thin up here, but then it gets to be more of sort of a square sort of shape towards the bottom. Like it's not quite square, but it's definitely a bit more square-ish than not, in my personal opinion. Definitely more of like a handle sort of shape or something like that kind of thing, in my personal opinion. So it's sort of a squared off shape with a bunch of different sort of textures going on down here. It's got almost sort of a tortoiseshell-like texture to it, which is very interesting in my personal opinion. But, you know, that sort of squared off sort of shape with the rounded corners, the little bit of sort of tortoiseshell sort of just texture to it, or maybe sort of, I guess like broken stained glass texture would really be the right way of putting it. It all looks quite nice in my personal opinion. I don't mind it by any means. We can see my one first complaint about the packaging though. This label right here is way off to the side. It is not centered in this by any means, which is not exactly to my personal preference, but it is what it is. It's still on there, so I can't complain too much now, can I? But we can see this label is all black label with some red and some white and some gold details going on. There's just like a little bit of a red rope going around, a little bit of an Old Monk right here. That's the Old Monk design, of course, just right there. And then in white, it just says Old Monk right there. And above this, in white, it just says 7 years old blended right there. Then we can just see that this bottle was made in January of 2024, just right there. To the side of that in gold, it just says very old vatted. And then over here, it just says for overseas export only. So not for sale within India, of course. And then there's just a gold line right there. Under that, it just says XXX rum right there, 750 milliliter. Then on the other side, it just says alcohol 40% by volume, 80 proof, manufactured date, batch number, and then you just have to look up there for that. And then under that, it just says distilled, blended, and bottled by Mohan Meakin Limited, established 1855. They're in Mohan. And I'm probably going to mispronounce a bunch of this stuff because I'm just reading off like where they're really located within India. But it just says Mohan Nagar, Dist, Ghaziabad, UP, India. Regard Office, Solan Brewery, imported by Eastern Liquors USA, Westbury, New York, made in India. And that's pretty much all that's going on the label. So just basically telling you what this is, telling you what the variety name is. Although the variety name is quite the mouthful, is quite the mouthful, if I do say so myself. But of course, it also just says made in India right there as well. Moving on to the label on the back of the bottle, we can see instead of being black, it is white, still with a bunch of gold details going on, but with black text instead of a bunch of white text and gold text and stuff like that. But we can see there is a little bit of a gold border just going all the way around, a little bit of an Old Monk right there, all in gold as well. And then it just says in black, imported Old Monk XXX rum, the largest selling brand, winner of gold medals at the Mondi World Selection since 1982. Well, from what I know, Old Monk has always claimed they're like the largest selling rum brand in the world. I don't think that's actually true, though. Maybe it just says the largest selling brand in India. Maybe that's what they mean. I'm not exactly sure. But in the world, I would think it would be like Bacardi or something like that kind of thing instead, in all honesty. Bacardi is massive. But could be wrong, of course. But that says they just won some gold medals, basically just trying to sell you on the rum, saying, hey, we are some good stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that just says blended, distilled, and bottled by blank, blank, blank. 750 milliliters, government warning, and a barcode right there. And that's pretty much all that's going on the back. Now, one thing about this bottle is that we can see on each side over here, we can actually see there is Old Monk just actually in the glass itself, just right there on a little bit of a rectangle with the copyright symbol, of course, as well, which looks pretty nice in my personal opinion. Yeah, just says Old Monk right there. That's pretty cool. It's a nice looking bottle. And taking a look at the bottom, just says Mohan Meakin, just right there. One established date, and then 750 milliliter, just right there. And that's pretty much all that's going on look-wise for the bottle. Yeah, looks pretty good in my personal opinion. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get this cap all off if I possibly can. I might need to take off my glove because it is a bit chilly out here. But I might need to take off my gloves so I can... Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, there we go. Ah! Oh, that hurt. All right. There we go. Oh, what is this? Well, I can smell the rum now. This entire tab just came off with that, so I'm just going to take some of that off. Put that in my ashtray. Do I need to do anything for this? Closures? It doesn't just pour straight out? Or did I break the cap? I didn't break the cap, right? I'm just gonna... Okay. That's just... Oh, that's actually really nice. That's actually... So basically, this clear area, I thought I broke the cap for a second. I was like, what is this? I've never seen this on a rum bottle before. This is literally like a bar thing ingrained in the bottle. So it's for slow pours. Oh man, that is mint. That is super mint. Oh man. Wow, you do not see that on many bottles. Many alcohol companies are just like stick the nozzle in it and everything like that kind of thing. This comes with a pre-built-in nozzle. Yo, that's good. That's super cool. Oh wow, that's pretty neat. I wasn't expecting that at all. Wow, I did a bunch of research about this too, and nobody mentioned this. What? I have tried, well, not that many rums so far, but I've tried a handful of rums. None of them have come with a built-in, like, bar thing. Like, bar, I don't know what to call it in all honesty, but just like a little thing to make it really not come out and like gug too much and everything like that kind of thing. Wow. I am very impressed, not gonna lie. That is very cool. That is really, really, really cool. Well, before I smell some of the stuff into the glass, I'm gonna go ahead and just smell it out the bottle as best as I can, because this does not come out, I assume, at least. Or maybe it does, actually. Maybe it does come out. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe you can take this off or something. I'm not sure. My nose is a bit runny, I ain't gonna lie. My nose is a bit runny. I'd have to say I'm very much getting that of a little bit of, well, alcohol, sort of paint thinner-like smell. Along with a little bit of nuts, vanilla, and coca/chocolate. Yeah, very interesting. It's a more mild scent than not, I think, just because this is in the way. But, yeah, no. Doesn't smell too bad by any means. Doesn't smell too bad by any means. Well, I'm going to go and put the lid back on in just a moment. I'm just going to pour myself a little bit more into my glass right here. Man, this thing makes it so easy to pour. So easy to pour, like, and it's hard to pour too much as well. And it doesn't drip everywhere. That is so nice. Yo, this is actually so mint. This is so mint. I love this. That's actually so good. Yo, I was not expecting that at all. I actually really like that about this bottle. That is super cool. Wow. Alrighty though, y'all. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the color of the rum itself. We can see the color of the rum itself. It's very much that of a, sort of, I'd have to say, slightly darker than not rich amber color. Definitely a little bit darker than some other rums out there. This is definitely not a Blanco rum or a sort of white rum by any means. I'm saying Blanco like this is tequila. This is not tequila. This is rum. I really shouldn't have said that, because Blanco is a type of tequila, not rum. It's just called white rum when it's clear. But, yeah. No, it's got a very nice sort of dark earthen, not golden amber color. Looks pretty scrumdiddly-umptious if I do say so myself. In the bottle itself, it's definitely a very dark sort of brown color. But when it's actually in a glass and you can actually really see through it, it looks quite pretty in my personal opinion. And just smelling it. And I'm just going to go and bring the camera down just a little bit. Yeah, definitely a little bit of alcohol, like a little bit of sort of paint thinner-esque. But definitely as well, a little bit of, I'd have to say, nuts. Not like peanuts, but more like, kind of like chocolate toffee-ish. Like toffee with nuts in it as well. So it's got sort of a nutty sort of toffee-like smell, or I don't know, it's interesting. There's kind of like a coffee toffee chocolate like smell kind of going on, in my opinion. And I'm not really sure exactly which one in specific it is. It's not quite coffee. It's not quite chocolate. I want to say it's like a nutty sort of toffee like smell. And then there's like a slight undertone of some other stuff going on as well. Maybe a little bit of vanilla. Yeah, very interesting, very interesting. Just there's a little bit of a sort of a toffee, nutty, slightly vanilla-like scent to this, along with the alcohol sort of paint thinner. Wow. Doesn't smell bad by any means. Well, I do think without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get my other glove back on. And I think it's now time for me to go ahead and take my first ever sip of some Indian rum. After I grab myself a little bit of a screenshot, that is, though, because I realized I haven't grabbed myself a little bit of a screenshot quite yet today. So let's go ahead and lift up my camera just a little bit. And let's grab myself just a little bit of a screenshot for the thumbnail of this video. Gotta do it to him, you know what I'm saying? Gotta do it to him. Well, hopefully that will work for a screenshot. We will find out. But let's go ahead and sit back again. And I think let's go ahead and take a sip of some Indian rum for the first time and find out just what it's like, how it is, and what I think of it. Without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and take a sip of some Old Monk rum. Let's find out just how it is. First ever sip of some Indian rum, going down the hatch. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? Definitely a little bit of spice, for sure. A little bit of spiciness in the back of my throat. And an interesting mouthfeel. A very interesting, very smooth mouthfeel. And it has a sort of creamy, it's got a sort of creaminess to it, which is very interesting. It's got a little bit of creaminess going on. I'll admit, just right off the bat, personally, I don't know if I'd want to sip this too much. It's not bad to sip by any means, and it's certainly better than some other rums I've had to sip. However, I do think that this would be best in rum and cokes, and from what I've heard, that's generally how Old Monk is drank in India. Not with actual Coca-Cola, but with an Indian version of Coca-Cola. I can't remember the actual name of it though off the top of my head, but that's how I've heard most people drink Old Monk rum. And I've heard people say it's really good in rum and coke, so I'm not too surprised I'm feeling that way, I'll acknowledge. But to sip, it's not bad. It's just not as good as some other rums I've had. Although, granted, the other rums I've had to sip were more money. Some of them not significantly more money, but more money nonetheless. But before I go ahead and pour some Coke into this glass, I do want to figure out the full flavor of the Old Monk XXX 7-year aged vatted old rum and everything like that kind of thing. It's quite the name for this alcohol, I ain't gonna lie. Quite the name. Yeah, there's definitely, it very much, to me at least, it does taste like it smells to a decent degree. It does. Definitely with how it smells, you get a bit more toffee and nuts and then vanilla. But with the taste, it's more sort of spice, vanilla, creamy sort of flavor with, I'd have to say, like some sort of like nuttiness and toffiness under that. And like maybe a little bit of chocolate as well. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. I might have to take another sip and figure it out. But no, it is interesting. There's not the most depth in the world to the flavor that I'm noticing right off the bat. The flavors I described seem to be the flavors that are there, but I'm not sure, there might be more. Interesting though, interesting. Yeah. Quite creamy. Quite creamy mouthfeel. Very smooth, creamy mouthfeel. Which is very surprising. It's definitely got a slightly different mouthfeel than other rums I've tried so far. I don't know quite how to describe the mouthfeel other than it's kind of creamy. It's kind of like a milky sort of creamy mouthfeel, which is really odd to say because this is an alcohol, but it's got a very smooth, I think really the right way to describe it is that it's got a very smooth, rounded sort of mouthfeel, sort of finish to it. Or maybe not finish. Finish would be like the aftertaste. I wouldn't describe the aftertaste as being smooth and rounded. There's a little bit of spice. But the mouthfeel itself is surprisingly smooth and rounded. It's a surprisingly sort of a creamy mouthfeel, a very smooth, creamy mouthfeel. Now I was watching a video of I think it was Richard Hammond and James May drinking some of James May's gin. A couple days ago. Actually, last night, I was watching a video, and they were doing, like, and stuff like that to try to taste it more. So I'm going to try that. I was like, is that something you do when you're trying to taste alcohol? I have no idea. I'm not a professional when it comes to tasting alcohol by any means. I have no idea what I'm doing. I do feel like that actually helped exemplify the taste a little bit. Yeah, interesting. Maybe a little bit. Or maybe I'm just looking like a fool right now. I have no idea. Maybe I've been fooled. Maybe I've been tricked. I'm not sure. But, yeah, no, I'd have to say the flavor is very much that of a... sort of slightly creamy vanilla taste with an undertone of... like, it's definitely much sweeter than not. Like, in the forefront, there's definitely a little bit of spiciness, for sure, just kind of in the back of your throat. But then with the actual flavor on your tongue, it's very much that of a smooth, slightly creamy vanilla taste with an undertone of, I'd have to say, a little bit of, like, toffee and maybe a little bit of, like, semi-sweet chocolate. And then under that, I'd have to say there's a little bit of a sort of nutty sort of flavor, almost like almonds or something like that kind of thing. So it's sort of a vanilla, toffee, chocolate, nutty flavor overall, which is very interesting. It has a very smooth, sort of rounded mouthfeel in my personal opinion. And it's not particularly harsh to kind of sip on either. When you're taking small sips at least. If you're trying to chug this stuff, I have faith that this will kill you. But when you're taking small sips, it ain't so bad. And it's really, this is not a bad rum. I saw some people out there giving this rum bad reviews, saying it was not very good for the price and everything like that kind of thing. But honestly, I'm at like $26.75 in my local area. You know, I haven't tried a lot of rums, but I really don't feel like this is a super bad choice. Now, to sip on, I do feel like there are better rums out there for sure. However, for what I generally use a lot of the rums that I'm not really super big on sipping for, which is rum and cokes, I think that this will be amazing. I love my rum and cokes, and I think that this will pair really, really, really good with Coca-Cola, frankly put. And to test that, I am going to take one more sip of this, and then after that, I'm going to go and mix myself up a rum and coke. I think I've talked about overall kind of what the flavor is like and everything like that kind of thing. There's definitely a little bit of nuttiness in there, a little bit of toffee and stuff like that for sure. Yeah, it's sort of like a creamy, oddly enough, it kind of reminds me of a pack of cigarettes. Maybe, It almost reminds me of like, it almost reminds me of like a mix between like an almond butter, peanut butter, like Reese's Pieces or like Reese's Cup. But the chocolate is not just chocolate, there's like toffee in it as well. That's kind of what it reminds me of, which is very interesting. And this is also, I mean, like, I can tell this is 40%. It's got me a little bit of buzz. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little bit buzzed right now. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Yeah, the overall flavor by itself, in my personal opinion, for Old Monk rum from India is that of a, I'd have to say, yeah, vanilla, it's sort of a creamy vanilla, toffee, chocolate, nutty flavor that has sort of an almost, it's odd because it's got sort of almost like a bakery-like flavor to it as well. Almost like something like a piece of candy, like a toffee Reese's Cup or something like that kind of thing. It's very interesting, very interesting. I really like it. There's not like all that much depth of the flavor, like definitely like with that small amount of the Old Monk I had, I feel like I've gotten really all I was going to get from the flavor. I don't feel like I'm missing anything from the flavor. I feel like I really got everything. So there's definitely not like too much dynamicness to this rum or anything like that kind of thing, I'll acknowledge. But it's definitely better than I heard it was to sip on. I heard a bunch of people saying, this stuff is horrible to sip on. This stuff, it's not great to sip. you can sip this. You can 100% sip this rum, and it's not a bad rum to sip. Now, is it really a good rum to sip? Not in my personal opinion. There's definitely better rums to sip with more flavor, more dynamicness, more interestingness going on with the flavor. But this rum, I don't think it's really meant to be like that. It's meant to be cheaper than not. It's meant to, more than likely, it's probably designed to be mixed into stuff. So that's another thing. And honestly, as far as rums go, I've had worse sippers. I have had worse sippers. Bundaberg from Australia, for example, was a worse sipper than this. Now, I could sip it, but it was a worse sipper than this. Old Monk, I heard a lot of people online saying, man, this stuff is not very good sipping rum. And don't get me wrong, there's better rum out there for sipping. But this ain't so bad. This would do for sipping in a pinch. If you just want to sip on some rum, this will not kill you by any means. It will not. As long as you're sipping slowly, it is. But I think I'm going to go ahead and make myself up a little bit of a rum and coke, and I just realized I completely forgot to get some lime juice and a stirrer. How did I do that? Let me go inside and grab everything real quick, because I forgot my lime juice and I forgot my stirrer. How could I do that, y'all? How could I do that? So I'll be back in just a minute. We are so back, y'all. I got my lime juice, I got my fork, my stirrer. Let's go ahead and pour a little bit of rum in my glass with the nifty thing they got up here. Makes it real easy. Pour it in, just like that. Oh yeah, that makes it so easy. Love that. That should do. Just like that. Super easy to not pour too much either. Love that, love that. And the sort of a deep amber gold color of this rum. Yeah, it looks pretty good in my personal opinion. Let's go ahead and take my Coke as well. Just pour it in, just like that. And a little bit of lime juice as well on top. There we go. And now that I have done all of that, let's go ahead and stir this glass up just a little bit, if I possibly can. Alrighty, that should do. Alrighty. Without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and take a sip of this and find out just how Indian rum is in a rum and coke as well. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? As expected, it's pretty dang good. It combines so well with the Coke, it's ridiculous. Yeah, no, that's actually really good. Yeah, no big surprise. The flavor of the Old Monk, like just sipping it when you're sipping it straight, it makes you think that it would pair really well with Coca-Cola, and it does. I also think this rum would probably pair pretty well with Dr. Pepper as well, along with probably Pepsi too. So might have to try those combinations in the future. Never tried rum with any of those, but just the flavor of it, I think it would combine pretty well with those. But in a rum and coke, I gotta admit, the Old Monk rum from India, it's pretty good. I see why the supposed prominent way people drink Old Monk in India is not by sipping, but in, well, a slightly different version of a rum and coke. I see why that's the prominent way of consuming Old Monk in India. In all honesty, it's not a surprise one bit. It makes sense to me, now having tried Old Monk. This is really nice. It's actually so smooth. I gotta admit, Old Monk is really good in a rum and coke. Now, I haven't gotten to the bottom yet, but it's pretty dang nice in a rum and coke. Man, wow. I gotta admit, I've tried a couple different rums that I think are good in rum and cokes, like really good in rum and cokes. Like the first rum and coke I ever had was made with some Bacardi Reserva Ocho 8. And, well, that's a good rum on its own, in my personal opinion. And I think it's pretty solid in a rum and coke. There are much better rums out there, and it's actually my least favorite rum to use in a rum and coke these days. I'd have to say probably my favorite rum to use in a rum and coke is the Appleton 12 Signature, which is like a $40 bottle of rum, but it's really good in a rum and coke because the taste just works so well with the flavor of Coca-Cola. Then after that, I gotta admit, my probably second place for best rum to use in a rum and coke is probably Old Monk, in all honesty. Then after that, probably the Appleton Signature, and then after that, Bundaberg, and then after that, well, no, actually, I'm going to place Bundaberg at number 3, because Bundaberg was really good in a rum and coke, too. I really actually enjoyed Bundaberg in a rum and coke. But this is second place when it comes to rums that I like in a rum and coke. Just like the Appleton Estate 12, the flavor is combining very well with the taste of the Coca-Cola. It's not contrasting too much by any means. It really combines very well. Like, you still get a little bit of that rummy flavor going on, but it combines very well. Very smooth, very easy to drink. If you really want to taste the rum in your rum and coke, this is definitely not going to be for you. But I like this. I do like this. And it is more to my preference than not, I'll be honest. I gotta admit, it's tempting. I don't know if I want to say it right now, but it's tempting to say that my new go-to bottle for rum and cokes will be Old Monk. The Appleton Signature is about $25, so it's only like $2 less than the Old Monk. So it's tempting to, I think the two best $25 rums roughly in a rum and coke are Appleton Signature and Old Monk that I've tried so far. Against those two, I'm gonna have to say Old Monk is better, but they're both slightly different. So honestly, if I was in the local liquor store and I was like, okay, I want some rum just for rum and coke, so I don't want to sip any of this, and I want to only spend like $25, you know, it would be just then pretty much whatever I'm feeling like. And if I'm kind of feeling like both, it would be a hard choice, because I'd be like, well, Old Monk combines really well, so does Appleton Signature, because Appleton Signature is pretty nice in rum and cokes too. Wow, I gotta admit though, yeah, no, pretty nice. Excuse me. Yeah, I gotta admit, probably my second favorite rum to have in a rum and coke so far, at least. I'm only halfway through the rum and coke, granted, but yeah, this is a good rum and coke. Old Monk makes a good rum and coke, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. And really easy to make as well. You really don't have to worry about spilling any or anything like that kind of thing. It comes with a bottle, you don't gotta put a little nozzle on it or anything like that. That's nice, I like that. I don't know if it's like that in other markets around the world, if it's just the United States market, but either way, I like that little gimmick. Would definitely be a solid party rum in my personal opinion. Like if I was, let's say, hosting a party and I was making drinks for people, like let's say I was just running rum and cokes for people and stuff like that kind of thing, I'd probably choose Old Monk. And like, it's not the cheapest rum. So if I was willing to spend a little bit of money and I wasn't serving like 500 people, then I'd probably choose Old Monk. If I was trying to serve rum and cokes for people or something like that, just because I don't got to put a nozzle on it and it's something interesting to talk about because it's from India after all. Yeah, I gotta admit, enjoyable. It's not bad when sipping. It's not the greatest I've ever had when sipping. Not amazing when sipping by any means. Not bad either, but not amazing while sipping. But pretty dang good in a rum and coke. Yeah, quite nice in a rum and coke. Very smooth. Still got a little bit of rummy flavor, but not much. Not much. Combines great. And I'm definitely feeling a little bit of a buzz. I'm a lightweight when it comes to alcohol. I had some last night. I had actually a decent amount of alcohol last night, but I'm still feeling a little bit of an alcohol buzz, so I can't complain. I'm feeling buzzed, though. I'm feeling good. Feeling a little buzzed. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. Well, I think I'm going to go and finish this off in just a moment. Definitely got a little bit more rummy towards the bottom. Oh, yeah, definitely a little bit more rummy towards the bottom. But not too bad by any means. Overall, what are my final thoughts on Indian rum? Tried Indian rum for the first time today. What are my final thoughts on Indian rum? Do I like it? Do I not? Overall, based off this one experience at least, or is it a solid no from me? Overall, pretty good. Overall, pretty good. Sipping-wise, I gotta admit, excuse me, the Old Monk rum is not the best. It's not the best for sipping. I don't think it's what it's designed for, though. I'll admit, I really do not think it's meant to be sipped. I think it is meant to be put in a rum and coke or something comparable. I think it's literally designed for that. But overall, it's really good. Not great for sipping, as said. I mean, like, not bad for sipping, but not amazing for sipping either. But in a rum and coke, it really shines, and I like it quite a bit, to say the least. So I got no complaints on my behalf about Old Monk rum and a rum and coke. And I really don't got too many complaints about just sipping it straight up is either. When sipping it straight up, there's not like too much depth of flavor. The flavor you get is pretty nice. It's not bad by any means. Some people online say that it's been flavored and sweetened, and I honestly wouldn't disagree with that statement. It does definitely come across a little bit like maybe it has some added sugar or maybe a little bit of added sort of flavorings, stuff like that. But sipping it straight, not bad. Drinking it in rum and coke, really nice. Overall, what are my final thoughts on the Old Monk rum that I drank today? What are my final thoughts on the first ever Indian rum I tried during this video today? Well, I gotta admit, I'm thinking a solid 3 out of 4 for it. A solid 3 out of 4 for the Old Monk rum I drank during today's video. For context, my rating scale goes from a 1 to 4, with 1 being like, this is terrible, never drink this, a 2 being like, you know, this is okay, but it's not like my personal preference, a 3 being like, this is pretty good, but it's not like the best thing ever, and a 4 to 4 is like, this is the best thing ever. A 1 out of 4 is like Tito's. I hate Tito's so much. It's horrible vodka in my personal opinion. A 2 is like, probably, like, I'd have to say, probably, if I'm sipping straight Haku vodka from Japan, I'd have to say a 3 to 4 would be like the Bacardi Reserve Ocho or like the Appleton Estate or something like that kind of thing. And a 4 to 4 would be like the Appleton 12 Signature, or the Appleton 12 Signature. No, just the Appleton 12 Rare Casks, which is the bottle I tried in specific. That's like a $40 bottle of rum. That's like a 4 to 4. This for me is a 3 to 4. It's not the most amazing to sip by any means, but it's really nice in a rum and coke, and it's something that I would 100% buy again. For something that, if I personally feel like I would want to buy a bottle of something again, it pretty much automatically gets a 3 out of 4. Just simply because once we get to a 2 out of 4, it's stuff that I don't really like and I wouldn't buy again. But I would 100% buy a bottle of this Old Monk rum again. I'm going to be making lots more rum and cokes with this bottle of rum, and I have faith that this will disappear a little bit faster than not, let me tell y'all what. And I'm looking forward to trying this, maybe with some other mixers as well. Maybe, who knows? But overall, yeah, Old Monk rum, pretty solid stuff in my personal opinion. Certainly no complaints on my behalf. 3 out of 4 for the Old Monk rum, as said. And I think that's pretty much all I had to say for this video today. If you guys haven't tried Old Monk rum in the past, let me know in the comments down below what y'all's experience was like with it. Did you guys like it? Did you guys not? Let me know in the comments down below. And also make sure to, like and subscribe for more content. I have my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. box, and my second channel all in the description down below. Go check it all out. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, y'all. Till the next one, stay safe in peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying?